In the heart of Umudia village stood the grand palace of King Zuma, a ruler loved by his people for his wisdom and kindness. Unlike many kings, he ruled with patience, often listening to the smallest child or the oldest farmer before making a decision. His people admired him not only for his fairness but also for the way he treated his family with warmth. King Zuma had 2 wives. His first wife, Queen Oli, was blessed with 3 daughters, while his second wife, Queen Ochi, bore him 2 sons. The 3 princesses, Olia, Raina, and Tina, were nothing like the quiet, obedient daughters most villagers expected from royalty. They laughed loudly, climbed trees, and walked through the marketplace without guards, playing games with the children there. Their mother, Queen Oli, often shook her head, worried that their carefree nature would make it hard for them to marry well. The villagers whispered among themselves whenever the princesses passed. "Foolish girls," they would say. "A princess should walk with grace, not run through the mud with children." Yet the girls did not mind. They lived as they pleased, caring little for the opinions of others. Though the whispers reached the ears of King Zuma, he only smiled, believing his daughters would one day prove the villagers wrong. But as the girls grew older, the whispers became louder. Suitors began to visit the palace, offering gold and gifts to win their hands. Time and again, Olia, Raina, and Tina refused them all. "We have not found love," they said simply. Their parents grew puzzled, for in their land, daughters of kings were expected to marry early and strengthen alliances. Still, the princesses were stubborn. They insisted that true love could not be bought with wealth or titles. They would wait until their hearts told them it was right. Though the people thought them foolish, the princesses held firm to their belief. And so, their story began not with wealth, but with a daring request that would change Umudia forever. Every year, Umudia celebrated the Festival of Princes. It was a time when the young men of the kingdom, and sometimes from faraway lands, would gather to display their wealth and power before the king. The most beautiful maidens came dressed in their finest clothes, hoping to catch the eyes of the princes. Songs filled the air, drums beat loudly, and the people danced in celebration. During these festivals, the princesses were always the subject of attention. Handsome young men stepped forward, bowing deeply, speaking of their lands and their riches. Yet Olia, Raina, and Tina rejected them every time. "We are grateful," they would say politely, "but we do not feel the love we seek." The villagers shook their heads. "Who turns down strong warriors and rich princes?" they muttered. The princesses did not care. To them, marriage was not about riches or titles but about finding a man who would see them for who they were. As the seasons passed, the girls blossomed into beautiful young women, admired despite the gossip. Finally, one day, the 3 sisters went to their father with a bold request. "Father," said Olia, the eldest, "we do not wish to wait for another festival meant for others. We want our own. A festival for us, where men may show us who they truly are." King Zuma was surprised. It had never been done before. Festivals were for princes, not for princesses to choose their suitors. But as he looked into the determined eyes of his daughters, he remembered his own youth and the power of following one's heart. After some thought, he agreed. "So be it," he said. "The festival of the princesses will be held." The news spread quickly through Umudia and beyond. Men from distant villages prepared gifts, songs, and displays of strength. All believed that with wealth and power, they could easily win the hearts of the princesses. But none of them knew what challenge awaited. The day of the festival arrived. The palace courtyard was decorated with bright cloth, palm leaves, and flowers. The villagers gathered in excitement, eager to see which men would win the hands of the princesses. The suitors came dressed in fine robes, carrying gold, silver, and cattle as gifts. They boasted of their lands, their wealth, and their bravery in battle. But when the time came, the princesses stood before the crowd and announced their test. Olia spoke first. "We will not be won with gold or strength," she said. "If you wish to win our hearts, you must tell us our true names." The courtyard fell silent. The suitors stared at each other in shock. No one had expected such a riddle. Many of the men only knew the princesses by their titles. None had taken the time to learn who they were as people. Murmurs spread through the crowd. Some suitors grew angry, saying the challenge was unfair. Others laughed, believing it was impossible. But the princesses stood firm. "If a man cannot know us for who we are," said Nnenna, "then he does not deserve us." For days, the suitors tried. They guessed names, brought songs, and even consulted elders, but none came close. The people began to wonder if the princesses would ever marry. Yet the sisters did not waver. They wanted men who would look beyond titles and see their hearts. And then, among the crowd, a figure no one expected stepped forward, Okon, the man known in the village as the drunkard. His clothes were plain, and many laughed at him. "What does he want here?" they mocked. But Okon raised his head high. He, too, would take on the challenge. Okon was the last man anyone thought would try to win the princess's hearts. He was known for sitting by the palm wine tapper's hut, drinking until he stumbled through the streets. Children laughed at him, and elders pitied him. But Okon was determined. Unlike the others, he did not come with gold or loud boast. Instead, he followed the princesses quietly, watching them from afar. He noticed how they called each other by nicknames, never revealing their true names. Days passed, and he learned nothing. Yet he did not give up. One afternoon, as the sisters walked near the forest, the youngest, Nnenna, slipped and fell into a deep pit. Her cry rang out as Olia and Nnenna rushed to help her. In their panic, they shouted her name. "Nnenna! Hold on!" Olia cried. "Nnenna, help me pull her out." From his hiding place, Okon heard everything. For the first time, the princesses had revealed their true names in their love and fear for each other. Olia, Nnenna, Nnenna, these were the names no one else had discovered. Okon smiled. He had found the answer, not through wealth or force, but through patience and understanding. When the day came to present his answer, the courtyard was once again filled with laughter at the sight of Okon. "What can the drunkard know?" the villagers mocked. But Okon stood tall before the king and the princesses. "Their names," he said clearly, "are Olia, Nnenna, and Nnenna." The crowd gasped. The princesses looked at him with surprise and respect. He had done what no one else could. And then, to the shock of all, Okon revealed the truth. "I am not who you think I am," Okon said before the king and the people. "I am Prince Okon of Nnenna, a neighboring kingdom. I disguised myself as a drunkard so that I might learn the true hearts of your daughters. And in doing so, I discovered not only their names but their kindness and strength." The people erupted in murmurs. Some were ashamed for mocking him. Others were astonished at his cleverness. King Zuma listened in silence, his wise eyes fixed on Okon. The princesses were moved. Unlike the other suitors, Okon had not relied on wealth or power. He had taken the time to know them, to see who they truly were. For the first time, their hearts stirred with the feeling they had been waiting for. King Zuma smiled, his heart full of pride. "You have shown wisdom, patience, and respect," he said to Okon. "And my daughter's happiness is the greatest gift I could ask for." The princesses agreed. In time, marriages were celebrated with joy and music. The people of Umudia, who once called the princesses foolish, now spoke of their story with admiration. It became a legend passed down through generations, the tale of the princesses who refused to be bought, and the prince who saw their true worth. From that day on, the people of Umudia learned that love was not about riches or appearances, but about understanding, respect, and the courage to see beyond the surface. And so, Olia, Nnenna, Nnenna, An Okon story lived on, an eternal reminder that true love looks deeper than the eye can see.